What you doing? I'm the AC and this is Otaku News Reviews. This time I'm talking about Fabricant 100 by Daisuke Enoshima, Chapter 8, Denial. It came out on February 5th, 2023 and it's the typical 19 pages long. In this chapter we jump right into actually kind of 100's thinking. We get here trying to rationalize the situation, figure out how this Fabricant's going to work. Of course, we know about the singing, but 100 also realizes that the singing's not going to work on everyone, and everyone needs to see the whole show. I don't know how 100 gets to that conclusion and why it needs to be the whole show. We don't even get really an answer to that in this chapter. It's really short. It goes by really quick. Not really too much happens, but there is a decent amount to talk about. So, speaking of which, 100 actually threatens to pretty much steal this Fabricant's throat for himself. Which, for some reason, I didn't think about until now. Fabricants could just steal from each other, and it's kind of, maybe it's because Ashibi's there, but why wouldn't 100 be stealing parts from others anyways? I mean, also, if it's true that someone else needs to sew him on, I guess there's no way to really steal from another Fabricant, because then the doctor or the first Fabricant or whoever's sewing them together probably wouldn't like that. While 100 is dealing with this Fabricant, Ashibi is dealing with Roxy, talking to Roxy, trying to, figure out what Roxy's deal is. And he asks why Roxy isn't happy, or why being beautiful isn't good enough. And this goes back to Ashibi's thinking back in chapter 2, and wondering why, why that Fabricant wasn't happy, or why really Fabricants in general, after getting these parts and becoming so strong, it's just not good for him. And I like to see that kind of connection and consistency in Ashibi's character. So of course Roxy's not happy with this, so we get to see Ashibi and Roxy sword fight on stage. Not really, you see it more in the background. You don't really get to see them fight, because most of this is focused on 100 and who is to be believed possibly a single digit. Apparently this Fabricant isn't all physically strong, but it's because this Fabricant knows the layout of the theater so well, easily able to avoid 100, really too easily able to avoid. We've seen how strong 100 is, and it makes no sense that there should be this much trouble, especially if this Fabricant isn't that strong. I mean, yeah, but it's more that this Fabricant isn't even trying to fight, maybe, and it's just running away, parkouring through everything, just to buy time, wait until the show is over, and I guess the singing takes effect, and finally does its job. I don't know. And 100, of course, also worries that since Ashibi's been here this whole time, it might affect him. So, yeah, they're kind of in a rush. Also, finally, the last two chapters, I compared this to Siren. Finally get to see that 100 does actually say Siren, or refer to as Siren. I was like, oh, good, it's not just me. So 100 finally comes to this conclusion that Ashibi actually had earlier, which is Ashibi just need to stop the show. 100 knows she just need to stop the song, and to do that, 100 jumps on a giant chandelier and just screams loud enough so it drowns out the sound of the singing. That's it. That's all the chapters. Really quick. There's not much to it, but it did. I mean, the thinking behind it, like Fabricants stealing from each other, Ashibi connecting, people not being satisfied with Fabricants not being satisfied, all the way back to chapter 2. I mean, this is only 8, so 6 chapter difference, but still. What is weird to me in this chapter, and yeah, it's like finally getting to that, of course the chapters are short now, but it's the typical shonen drawing a fight out kind of thing. This isn't the second chapter of them doing with Roxy, third if you count, just seeing Roxy at the very end of the one chapter, I guess 5, 6, yeah, 6, yeah, end of 6, some of 7, and then all of this 8. But dealing with this Fabricant and Roxy, it's getting drawn out. Considering 100's fights before were literally just nothing, it's weird. It's kind of a weird pace now since I got used to that, but it's also so early, so I shouldn't be getting too into it. The other thing, because I like to figure out why the chapters are named how they are, because names for chapters kind of important. Why is this called Denial? I've been thinking, and there's nothing too obvious about it. At first I thought, going into this, I thought this was going to be Shibi it's denial of needing to take care of this, or like there's anything wrong, or like he's going into this fight with some kind of denial. Maybe it's the denial of like Roxy and the other Fabricants that think they're not good enough. I don't know. I'm not as completely sure on what denial mean. That's what I'll bet on, is it's more of Roxy's denial, the Fabricant's denial, stuff like that. Just don't really have any other way to describe it. That is pretty much it for this chapter of Fabricant 100. Let me know what you think. Let me know what number you think this Fabricant is. 100 said, possibly a single digit. Maybe there's more to it. We're going to have a whole nother chapter next week with more of this, possibly more fighting. I thought there'd be a lot more fighting in this, more just chasing really, but there could be a whole nother like level to it. I don't know. There's going to be another stage of this enemy, something that we're not expecting, because it makes no sense to me that you need to see the whole show. Oh, something actually, now that I think about it, something I forgot to mention is 100 does point out that the singing, the hearing it, does trigger some kind of like psychological little weird happening, and you get like just the smallest glimpse of like a flashback or a memory or something from 100. So there could be a whole nother layer of this fight that we'll see next week, but let me know what you think. And if you're liking it, go ahead and let me know on that. And if you're like, hey, where you let me know, you can do that in the comments. You can do that on my social medias, DAC Stories. You can also email me at dacstories@gmail.com. I also have a little Discord you can follow. A small little community, do all that. But yeah, you can follow that stuff in the link, all the links in the description, stuff like that. But yeah, hey, if you like this, go ahead and like. If you want to be able to follow it more easily, all that stuff, go ahead and subscribe. Just be ready for all that. You know, do all that typical stuff. But until next time, I'm DAC. Thank you so much. Bye.